Have you ever had this thought before? I practice hard and I make a lot of progress in my practice sessions, but when I come back the next day, it's like I'm starting over from scratch. If you have thought this before, I've got some good news and I've got some ideas to share that will help you make your progress stick from day to day. The good news is that you already understand that consistently practicing the trumpet is really the only way to be able to see real improvement on the trumpet. In this video, I'd like to share some ideas with you that are gonna change your mindset, and it's gonna help your hard work in the practice room actually make you a more consistent player. Ideas like these can quickly make a difference in your playing, so if you're willing to take the time to try to understand what I'm talking about, I know that you will be able to overcome this struggle. So how do we begin to overcome this frustration in our trumpet practice? We're gonna start with something called flow state. Flow state is this thing where when we're engaged with an activity and in flow state, it's as if maybe time slows down, or sometimes maybe it feels like time speeds up. And likely when we're doing it, we're not thinking about things outside of the activity we're doing. We're just totally focused on the one thing that we're trying to do. Here's a quote from the late Kobe Bryant that demonstrates this idea perfectly. When you get in that zone, it's just a supreme confidence. Things just slow down. You really do not try to focus on what's going on because you can lose it in a second. You have to really try to stay in the present to not let anything break that rhythm. For us musicians, some of us may have experienced this during something like a concert. I know for myself, there are times where I sit down and begin performing a concert, and then just like that, the 2 hours are up and I'm headed home and I almost wonder, where did the time go? A lot of times flow state can seem elusive, but actually there are things that you can do to help yourself get into flow state and feel those feelings of being in the zone. One very important part about getting into flow state is related to how much challenge we are experiencing with the activity that we are doing. If we're doing something that is too easy for us, we will likely be bored and we're not gonna be in flow state. On the other side of things, if it's too hard for us, we'll likely be frustrated and that's gonna keep us out of flow state. I'd say a lot of us musicians have experienced things being too hard in the practice room and being frustrated quite often. For Kobe and other players in the NBA, they are so skilled that playing in the NBA is the right amount of challenge for them. It's not too easy because everybody's awesome, but their skills are so good that it's not frustrating and they get in the zone or in flow state. For musicians playing in a concert, a lot of times the music is very challenging, so it's not too easy, but with proper preparation, we can tackle these challenges so that our skills are ready to meet that challenge and we can be in flow state when we perform. So now that we understand flow state and we understand that being in flow state is making sure your work is not too hard and it's not too easy, let's talk about how to apply that to your practice session. To me, a practice session on the trumpet, and really any instrument for that matter, is all about balancing difficulty. You want to practice something that is challenging so that you can see your skills get better, but you don't want it to be so hard that you get frustrated and start throwing mutes across the room. I am definitely guilty of that one. So if efficient and effective practice sessions boil down to getting the difficulty right, let's talk about how to find that. Before we talk about dialing in the difficulty, I need to define two terms very quickly. The first term that I need to define is approach. When I say approach in this context, I just mean the way that you go about practicing your music. This could be at what tempo you practice your music, or what articulations you choose to use, or what dynamic you choose to play it at. Everything that makes up the strategy for how you go about breaking down your music and practicing it. The second term I want to define is quality. When I talk about quality in this context, what I mean is how successful you are in recreating the quality of playing that you want to achieve. In essence, you can think about this as just how consistently can you produce a high level of playing. The majority of players that I teach and that I coach have a mindset that I would describe as fixed approach, variable quality. What this means is I will approach the music the same way every time, about the same tempo, about the same articulation, not really changing much about how I approach it. The music will start off kind of at a lower quality, and over time the quality will get better. Now this approach can work, but I see one major flaw with it, which is that you're not driving home healthy playing habits consistently in your practice session. If you think about it, at the beginning of the process when things aren't so good, you're driving home those habits. And even if you can get it to a higher level of playing, mentally you're also thinking, well, sometimes I sound good and sometimes I sound bad, and that will totally carry over into your performance. The mindset shift I made years ago that has had a profound effect on how consistently I can play is actually just to flip the equation and to say I want to practice with a fixed quality variable approach. This mindset is defined by I will not sacrifice the quality of my playing for anything, and I will adjust the exercises in whatever way I need to be able to produce that high level of playing right now. Adopting this mindset made such a big difference because I noticed I was playing at a high level more often, which just made it become the way I played, and I also developed a mindset of a lot more confidence in my abilities. Now, it can feel like progress is pretty slow at first when you practice this way, but what you should notice is that you're able to pick up each day where you left off, rather than feeling like you're starting over completely each day you practice. Stacking high quality days on top of each other is truly the fastest way I know how to transform your playing and find more confidence and satisfaction when performing. Finding the right difficulty in your practice session is super important, but if you don't have a goal that directs your work to help you understand if you're successful or not, will make it so your work won't be as effective as you want it to be. If you are unsure how to set goals like a trumpet pro, click the video on the screen to find out. We'll see you in the next video.